I truly believe that a child that is raised by a toxic mother, it can damage them more than the father's absence.
Being raised by a single mother, more than likely you will end up in prison. Not more than likely. Most people in prison are...
China, why are you not married?
China, I love you. But that's where, like,
Yeah,
that's
but you're saying this, but him himself isn't.
He was raised by his mum, that's it.
I'm confused by this because, like,
if you have daughters, sometimes you raise them to be, there's the whole strong, independent, I don't need no man. And I think rather than teaching them how to work with a man, you're teaching her how to be, or them to be independent.
Yeah,
You know?
oh, definitely.
I think black men are more, I think they're more marriage minded than the black women.
that doesn't answer the question I asked. I said, how many black men do you know? And how many of them got down on their neck?
I know quite a few.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Look at you lying.
I'm
face.
being
So you've got men that are like 40 that are saying that they'd pick someone in their 20s as their wife.
What's wrong with that?
That's
What's wrong
weird.
with that?
Why would you not
Because
date
they're
a
20 years younger, so that's like you now being 26, dating a 60. Guys, welcome back to the Missing Piece podcast. I'm here today with some lovely, amazing guests. Had a little while off, but we're back now. We've got a few interesting topics that we'd like to discuss. I'd just like to also announce I've got some exciting news. I've got my new co-host on with me tonight, Sarah Rose.
Hello, everyone.
So yeah, I've asked her to join me in hosting the podcast, and she's got a very really good reputation for working with families and communities in Birmingham. So yeah, you're going to bring so much value. I already know that.
Thank you.
I'd like to just go from this side. Everyone introduce yourself, say your name, how old if you want to.
Not your address.
Not your address, please. We don't want anyone asking for addresses. Just your name, age, and what you do with yourself.
Me. So I'm Sarah. I'm 38. I'm a youth worker, and I also run my own organisation called Sharing Camps Cuddles, and we support families and young people in Birmingham.
I'm Daniel. I'm 28. In my main job, work as a CBT therapist, helping people with their mental health, and I have my own coaching business where I help mainly men build their confidence.
Love that. I'm Alicia, and if there's any viewers that haven't watched this before, I am the host of this podcast. I'm working with Sarah in the new year. We're going to be delivering a trauma workshop. I've also got my own organisation to help victims and survivors of domestic violence, and I'm also a newly qualified CBT therapist.
Nice. My name's Technique. I'm 26 and I work in admin and hospitality, and I'm a creative.
Nice. Firstly, thanks for having me on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Am I the first person to thank you?
Yeah, you are.
I did it off air though, to be fair.
Yeah, you did it. You did it when I walked in the room.
Yeah.
So I'm Romain. I work in football. So I work for the FA. So I work for England in call it league football, should we call it? But I specialise in inclusion and work in men's mental health.
Okay, love that. Right, so we've got a few topics here today. I think I'm just going to go in order of what I sent them to you guys. And I've been wanting to talk about the first one for a long time, but yeah, we haven't done a show on it. And that's the effect of absent fathers versus toxic mothers. Because I truly believe that a child that is raised by a toxic mother, it can damage them more than the father's absence.
When you say toxic mother, what do you mean?
I think really there's a lot of things I think within that, but
A mother who puts down a good father, like, tries to set their child against their father.
Yeah. I think we've got to recognise that both have an impact ultimately. So it'd be very difficult to measure. So I wouldn't say there's a barometer to say that one's going to be bad as the other. They may have differing impacts, but the mental trauma that can be caused on the child will be significant both ways. So we find it difficult to compare, but there's definitely a comparison between the two.
Yeah, most definitely, because I believe that obviously having an absent father, so not having a father figure around growing up, we all know that can massively impact you. But if you haven't got your father, but you've got your mother that's raising you and you're with her 24/7 throughout your whole life, but she's raising you poorly, she's not the best mother, and she's stopping you from seeing your father for no good reason, then I think that can have a huge impact, because obviously she's the sole parent and carer raising you, so it's all on her. There's no shared parental responsibility. So whatever she's teaching you and learning you, and whatever you're seeing, that's gonna be embedded in you growing up, and that's more than likely how you're gonna end up.
Well, speak factually, single mothers generally, being raised by a single mother, more than likely you will end up in prison. Not more than likely. Most people in prison are brought up by single mothers or teenage pregnancy on drugs and alcohol. But being brought up by a single father has the same impact by being brought up as a mother and father. So being brought up by a single mom is more damaging, and it's sad, because obviously it's not always the mother's fault, because fathers do walk out. Do you know what I mean? And it is left to the mother, and it's not easy being.
Are we saying for children it's going to be different? So a single mother with a son, would their future be different within a single mother with a daughter?
I'm not actually sure about that one.
Because statistically, I think that I would say the people in prison probably predominantly be male.
Yeah.
Would predominantly be male, but it'd be interesting to see what everybody's opinion would be. What the females that are raised by single mothers.
Young girls, when they haven't been brought up with the father, they end up more sexualised. They look for that love somewhere else, and they become a bit more promiscuous.
Promiscuous. Yeah, 1,000,000%. And I think it depends what kind of mother you've been brought up by. If you've been brought up by a single mother that's been a good mother, you've got chances that, there's lots of people that have been raised by single mothers and they're very successful in life. But say if you're a female growing up and you've been brought up by a single mother that's had a different man in the house every month and whatever, then those girls are more likely to grow up and be like that when they're older,
It's adopted behaviour, isn't it? So the behaviours that they learn as children, it will follow them into their adult life. And I think you're completely right in what you're saying. I think from my personal experience, I was raised by my mum, not a single parent. So I was raised by my mum and my stepdad, but my father was still absent. So I knew that my father was absent. So there are times in my own personal journey where there's a feeling of an abandonment, and that's what people get. So if you remove my stepfather from that feeling of abandonment will be magnified. So it's interesting because it's a lot of men that I know and a lot of people that we may know. You'll have that alpha male. We all know that guy who's always in the clubs or in the pubs, got multiple girlfriends, knows multiple people, always centre of attention. And I always think the people that we are now is a product of who we were as children. And what you'll find is, not every time, there's always exceptions to the rule, but what you'll find is a lot of the time these men, there's a feeling of abandonment somewhere, that they'll be raised from a single parent, and it could be an absent father, it could be a toxic mother. With a toxic mother, it's things like not showing love, so they haven't told their child they love them. So what they then go searching for as an adult male is that feeling of feeling wanted.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. And this is why a lot of young males today end up going out on the roads and getting into gangs and stuff, because they've never had no love at home. So if they're going out on the streets and this group of people's what they think is showing them love, then they're thinking that they're fitting and they belong and they're part of a unit and a family, and so they will run with that because they'll think that they're being shown love or they're part of something, and it's sad, really.
I also think from my experience, mothers typically raise their daughters differently to their sons. I've seen they'll raise their daughters a bit harder, but then they'll be softer on the men.
Yeah.
When I think it should be kind of the flip side, where because you're making your daughter harder, but because you were speaking about off air a little bit about how this generation's a bit soft, right? My gen is a bit soft, so that's one of the things I've noticed. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, well, I agree with that because I've got 2 daughters and a son, and I think my son's like my little mummy's boy, so...
Yeah, I'm a little softer with my boys, but then we're females raising men. Like, we're not men, so...
It's hard.
We don't know.
I think that's the question. The question is, can a woman raise a man?
Yeah, it would just be different to how a man does it. Because I think as men, we we know that there's things that we have to deal with by ourselves. So we have to let our son be like, all right, cool. You have to learn how to do that, because I had to learn how to do that. But I think a mother loves their child differently to the way a man does. So they're like, I just want to do everything.
Yeah.
Take care
Mums
of him.
more likely to mollycoddle their children than fathers.
So
And I
it's
think,
out of love. They don't do it on purpose.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Because you're doing what you know how. Like, when I've had this discussion with other people, it's like, it's one of those ones where it's like, it's not their fault. Like I said, if you've been raised a certain type of way, you're gonna bring them up a similar sort of way. So even with me, like when I was growing up, because I was raised by a single mom for all my life, and it's one of them ones where it's like, I had to learn a lot of things. And I think you mentioned it as well, Romain, where you was like, you could see the difference. Even though you had your stepdad around, you could feel the difference when, you know, you're going to school, you're seeing your friends getting picked up by mum and dad, or sometimes it's interchangeable, but you see the difference, you feel the difference. When I was growing up with my friends, they had both parents, and the tendency that they had, the tendencies that they had versus the tendencies that I had to learn about, you know what I mean? I'm only recently coming into my manhood, whereas I was a bit more feminine growing up because it was just
What do you
mumsy.
mean feminine?
Nah, like,
don't get onto
you know,
this.
I think,
I'm trying to figure out why that was funny. What's wrong with you?
No,
do you-
we're not laughing at him. This was the whole debate on a previous show between him and China about femininity and masculinity. So, but I do truly believe that a single mother, we're a woman. We can't, like, we're not going to raise you in a masculine way like a
We
man would.
nurture. That's how we are. We females
That's generally
nurture,
speaking.
yeah.
That. So my mum definitely had a lot of masculine traits. So she's very assertive, very dominant. So in terms of her nurturing, my mum never told me she loved me. That wasn't her way of showing love. So she definitely had the masculine traits to bring me up the person that I am as a man. You know, I had my stepdad as well. Interesting, my stepdad was a lot more feminine. So my stepdad taught me the art of love, was come to my football games, supported me, taught me how to do things like cooking, ironing from the ages like 7 and 8.
Amazing.
So it's interesting that there's a bit of a role reversal there.
Yeah.
So it's
Pick
like,
up your stepdad.
eh? Yeah,
He's amazing,
He is,
honestly.
man. The line that he always used to use to me is like, I want to grow you that you never need a woman.
Oh, that's so amazing.
So he taught me how to cook, clean,
Yeah.
wash, iron, everything.
Yeah, what a man, because there's not many men that are willing to be stepdads in this day and age and to do
I
all
think,
of that.
do you know what it is, Alicia? I think it's one of them ones where, I'd say, prior to the 60s, I'd say, it was more respected. Like, he was the father that stepped up, whereas men nowadays who go into that stepfather role, they don't really get the respect. So then it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
I mean, I've dated a woman. I was in a relationship with a woman that had children, but I didn't get the credit because I wasn't their biological father.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
shame.
So it's like,
Who do you feel like needs to give you credit and respect?
who do I feel? What do you mean?
You said people aren't giving you credit and respect.
Like,
Who
I
needs to
don't
respect
get the same level of, like, where they're not my children, and even when I was around their side of the family, it's like, but you're not their dad, so, like, I was made to feel like an outsider even though I'm there with them.
Okay, by their family.
Yeah.
Okay,
do you get
that's their own
do you get
problem.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But to go back to a point you said about feminine, I say, so when we was talking about how, like, when I was growing up, it was more of a thing where it was like, I had a lot of feminine traits, to address what you said. I was a bit more softer. I didn't have, I'm trying to think how to explain it. Like, I was a lot more emotional. I'd react to everything, versus when I'm seeing my friends, there's a bit more stoicism. They're a bit more in control of their emotions. I didn't have that. I had to develop that. It's kind of like everyone here is roller skate, right? I felt like I was using one whilst everyone had two. You know what I'm saying? So,
And do you put that down to not having your father there?
yeah, I think I didn't have that balance.
Yeah.
I didn't have that balance, and I definitely felt it. Definitely. And like I said, it's only the last few years that I've really started to come into my own and still understanding what it means to be a man.
That's why I think the absent father is actually more of a problem than the toxic mom. Because with an absent father, now the mum is the one that only works out because the mum does everything. But usually a mum does everything anyway. So if the mum's toxic, then everything falls apart. In a society where the dad was taking more parental responsibility, then the toxic mum wouldn't be as much of a problem. But an absent father leaves everything to the mum. So
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I think it all comes down to whether the father's present or not, because how that child ends up. Because if the child, like you said, ended up in prison or, ends up a certain way, that single mother's just done her best that she can to raise that child. So the father can't really comment then, like, where was you? Like, where was your impact on that child growing up?
No, that's true. I think, but we don't know the fathers. I'm not giving excuse to the absent father, but we don't know what his side is. There's times where I've seen it to which the mother is not letting the father see his kid. Or
this is what I mean. Toxic mothers. They've got no good reason. Unless your child, unless there's a safeguarding concern, and your child's at risk around their father, there's no reason why you should stop your kid from seeing the father.
Yeah. For women who are listening, who behave in that way, what would you say to women like that?
I'd say that when the child grows up and gets older, they're going to resent you as a mother, because they're going to find out for themselves you had no good reason to stop them from seeing their father, and to really think about what you're doing, because you're damaging your child. You're not. I know, like, some women will literally do it just to get back at the child's father because they've split up with them or they've moved on into a new relationship. But the only person you're really hurting deep down is your child. You're damaging your own child.
Is it fair to say that these type of women are putting themselves first before the child?
100%.
They're putting their stupid, feelings. They might have got the heart broke, they might have got cheated on or something, and because of that, or they think it's acceptable to stop the father from seeing the child. It's never acceptable.
It's wild.
Like, you even get cases where fathers as well, though, like, you hear of, say, mother saying, if you don't come back, I'm going to harm the child or something like that. I've heard of cases in America. I don't think I've heard any in the UK. But that's how toxic it can get. And
people harming their children. See, I don't have children, man. So this is just like crazy for me to hear. I couldn't imagine somebody saying or wanting to harm their own child. I know we live in that type of world where those things happen, but just to hear it, it's like, I just can't comprehend.
I think that there are a lot of mothers out here as well that will try and use their children as weapons against the fathers. And it's just so sad, and that's why I wanted to have these discussions, because it's so important. Like I said, unless there's a safeguarding concern, or why your child can't be around their father, you haven't really got, like, unless they're at risk, or you genuinely think that it's no good for them to be around their dad because they're going to come in harm's way, then why? Like, I can't justify any reason.
I think more should be done in like the family court, because I think it's just allowed to happen. If a mother don't allow a father to see the child, no one says nothing. It's fine. Do you know what I mean?
That
like, there's no repercussions from it. Pay
court fees, solicitor fees, fight, and all of that, and then they probably only get granted, like, to see the child once a fortnight or something.
It really crushes guys that actually want to be with their kids. Like, you get I've had some patients, they're like, the mother purposely moved the child to a different school, to a different part of the country, so now the dad has to drive how far to go see the kid that he loves more than anything else in the world. It's tough. That's
not even allowed, because if you've both got parental responsibility, which you do have from birth, if you're both on the birth certificate, you're not allowed. I'm sure you're not allowed to move so many miles away without permission and stuff like that. So,
this is all me.
But that people still do it and get away with doing it as well.
Yeah.
I think it happens when mums forget that they're raising the kid to raise the kid, because you love your child more than anything else. So it feels like you're doing it for yourself. It makes you happy. You get to keep everything, but you're raising the kid because you want them to have the best life, and them having the best life means they see both parents.
And it's that understanding, isn't it, that the child's first. And I think, if I look at this, and like yourself, you're probably in a similar position. If I've seen this as a coaching session, I'm having a one-to-one with somebody, I think one of the exercises I'd look to do is, let's fast forward into the future. Let's look at your child following the steps that you're doing now. What does that look like for your child with the behaviours that you're displaying? I think that's the type of questions I'll be asking that type of person. So how does this look for your child, and let them spell that out, because ultimately the child's not heading for the most positive future, and the child's going to, once they're an adult, they're going to be in a position that they're going to be negative, toxic traits, and it's all because of their childhood, going back to their mother, displaying bad behaviours.
And it can be a cycle as well. Like, I think there'll be times where, especially if you're raising, you're raising a boy and you're trying to mold him into a man, sometimes you end up raising him to be the very man that you
wish you had.
So, and then I think also with the toxic mothers thing as well, if you have daughters, sometimes you raise them to be, there's the whole strong, independent, I don't need no man. And I think rather than teaching them how to work with a man, you're teaching her how to be, or them to be independent.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But I think if you haven't had a positive relationship with a man, then how can you teach your daughter how to work with a man if you've never had that yourself? You can, to a degree.
I think that's a good question. It really is a good question. I think there's a lot of things around us at the moment, and we can identify what's good and what's not good. So if we take away the term man and we look at the traits that we dislike and we think, well, I don't like that, and if we list the traits, these are the types of things that I would like in a human being, in a person, I think that's how we could identify what we'd like in another person.
I think it can go both ways, because you can either experience trauma and it can be a great thing because some people, that's what gives them that motive to turn their life around and do better and have a great life. Or some people can experience trauma and then use that as an excuse to just be a horrible person for the rest of their life, or it can make them turn a certain way because of what they've been through. It can work in your favour, it can work as a disadvantage as well. So I think it depends on you as the person and what you do with, whether you want to heal and whether you want to consciously decide to do better for your kids.
Yeah, I think sooner or later, though, we need to stop blaming trauma and we need to take accountability as adults. Now, we went through this. Now it's time to heal, because, as you said, the cycle needs to break. And if you don't break that cycle, then it's just going to continue.
Some people use it as an excuse to just justify their behaviours for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Or because I went through this when I was a child, or because this has happened to me, then this is why I act like this. But you've got to get to a point where you want to change and do better, or can't use your childhood and stuff as an excuse.
I wanted to ask a question as well, because where I was raised by a single mom and I was around a lot of women. I was essentially in a matriarchy. I was taught how to treat women. Is it the flip side? Like, you guys are mothers, right? So are you guys gonna teach your daughters how to, same way guys like myself are taught how to treat women, are you guys gonna treat your son? So are you gonna teach your daughters how to treat men? Yeah.
So I've taught my son, like I've got a 19-year-old son, I've taught him how I think he should treat a woman, but I've also taught him how to cook and everything, so we don't have to, like you said, your mum, so we don't have to rely on a woman. But I can't, like my daughter's 11 and 12, I can't actually say.
But
I think I can challenge that. I feel like you're doing the action, you're being the woman.
But
I'm
quite
being the example
traditional
that they want to see.
in the sense as how I feel a man should be treated. And I feel the man should be the leader and the woman should be the carer and stuff like that. And my children know that. I haven't actually sat down and taught them, but they know, because.
So you think they're going off of the actions? That you're displaying? Okay, that's fair.
But so then it's hard as well, because if you're a single mother and you don't want to bring no outside man around your kids, how are they ever going to see how a woman acts with a man? Because you don't bring no men around her.
Isn't that about having people, like the company you keep, being around good couples or something like that, like showing them?
You just have to treat people nicely.
Yeah.
You don't have to necessarily, like, this is my boyfriend, I do this for him and that for him. If you treat people nicely, they'll understand to treat people nicely.
Yeah, I think if you've got a positive personality and you're like a nice person, like you said, and they see how you talk to people and interact with people, and then they're going to pick up on that and they're going to follow them traits, really, aren't they? But in regards to teaching your daughters how to treat a man, I'd say that it's not really, I don't think single mothers really do that.
No, I can't say. No. but we teach our sons.
That's the thing.
100%,
That's the thing.
yeah.
And that's one of the things I'm grateful for. Like, you know, I was shown how to do that. So, but I've always wondered, like, especially as I've gotten older, is that the flip side? Do you do the same with your daughters in terms of how to treat a man? So it's like,
I think we're missing a question here. My question's 3-letter one. Why?
Why do we not teach our daughters how to treat men?
No, well, it must go back to, I don't know, it's like, obviously, we know how we've been treated by men.
Because we hate
Because we
hate men. Because the dads left us.
We don't want
Don't
our
blame the
daughters to go
traumas.
through that. So
Are you blaming the trauma?
I'm not blaming
Please take accountability.
I wasn't. Didn't realise it was because of that.
I think you're more focused on teaching like I'm more focused on teaching my daughter how to, like you said, grow up and be a strong, independent woman.
Sounds like you two are teaching your daughters to avoid men.
honestly,
Probably do.
but we need each other though. Like,
Yeah,
like,
100%.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't get it. So it's like, you guys didn't hesitate when you said you're teaching your sons how to treat women, but then it's like, I saw the look on your faces when I flipped it. You know what I mean? So it's like, how are we?
It's made me think now, though. It's made me think that I have to,
It's important though. If we're trying to have better outcomes, like, you know,
especially with
it's
society
important.
today.
Exactly, 100%.
I do think a lot of showing the way is a lot of the action though. So does it need to be a tangible conversation sitting there as a girl, this is what you should do? But, you know, if you're setting the right example, if you like in terms of what you want to be traditional, more nurturing, as you said, by the way, so I'm not saying a woman like this, and you're doing the cooking, you're doing the cleaning, you're doing those things, you probably don't actually have to tell your daughter to do them.
Yeah.
You're setting the example by doing it yourself.
No, but I do agree with that, but I think that cooking and cleaning and stuff, that's not what you need to know in regards to how you treat your man. You need to be there for your man. You need to be there for your man and his mental health. You need to be able to know how to nurture a man, to not complain all the time, to not moan. If you've got a hard-working man that's going out making money, providing for his family, us women, we like to nag and moan. I feel like these are the things that need to be taught, not how to cook and how to clean.
But they're a part of it though. The cooking.
But I
and
feel
cleaning
like you need to know how to be there for your man mentally, not
Definitely,
just as
agreed,
a housemaid.
agreed.
Do you know
No,
what I mean?
Definitely.
I'll go back to Daniel's point. So I think that's the human being point. So I think as a society, as human beings, once we develop that skill that we need to be there for each other, that will just come along with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
But if you was raised by a really like negative mother, I think you are going to turn out to be a toxic, negative person, and it is going to be hard to have a relationship with a man.
Is that? Oh, okay, cool. What I was gonna say is that for both men and women.
Because you're gonna have if you grew up with a mum that had a bad attitude all your life, and she was just some females do have bad attitudes. They're not nice people.
Really?
If you grew up
I
with
ain't met
that,
many females.
you're lucky. If you grew up with that all your life, and then you end up following suit and growing up with a bad attitude and stuff, you're not really going to have positive relationships with men, are you? Because you've picked up that attitude. You're not really going to know how to talk to people nicely. Or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Question to you guys then, to the ladies on the panel. So what's your relationship like with men at the moment?
Non-existent.
Yeah.
So would it be toxic towards men at
Mine's
the
not
moment?
mine's not non-existent. But it's not. I'm seeing someone, but obviously I don't bring him around my kids.
Okay.
So it's separate from my kids.
Are you emotionally available to this person, or do you think because of your experiences you're now removed?
No, I'm 1,000,000% emotionally available. In the past, I probably wouldn't have been emotionally available to guys, but now I feel like I'm a whole therapist to that man.
Do you know what? I think it's unfortunate because you're judging your present, not in your situation, but you're judging your present guy based on. I think there's a saying. Judging men in your present based on mistakes of men in the past equals no future. So it's like, how we, like I said, how are we supposed to have better outcomes because you're basing it off of your experiences with men?
No, I don't judge. I don't.
Not you, but I'm just saying in general. Yeah.
A lot of women do. Like, you get treated bad, and then they think, oh, all men are the same, and But I don't think all men. I generally don't believe all men are the same. I just know that I've had some bad experience in my life. Like everybody knows.
I think you do have this wall up though.
Yeah.
Like, me and Alicia have had this conversation. Like
this week, she's told me
the
off.
person she's seeing seems so lovely. He seems, and she's just got this wall up. I'm like, just let it down a bit. Let him in a bit more. Yeah, but she's there for him, but she's
I don't let him be there for me.
then how are we supposed to get anywhere? If that's
Now
the case.
we will, but it takes time.
100%.
It takes time, and like I said, you have to ensure that it's hard, really, because if you're keeping your relationship separate from your kids, and then there's this like you have to sort of put a wall up because.
So at what point are you gonna?
So.
You don't think so? Why though?
Because you just don't. Other than it is difficult because you don't want to like bring them around your kids, but you just don't talk about your kids. Every single other aspect of the relationship is the same.
No, we do speak about our children though, but I just think that for me the thing is, how would you know? How do you know when to like?
It's a risk though. Life is, you know what I'm
How do
saying.
you know when to trust someone enough to be yourself?
No, to bring them around your children.
Oh.
Look at my situation.
Oh, that's not what
Okay, yeah.
Do you know what I
What
mean?
was you talking about?
You said you put a wall up. What do you mean by that?
Oh, I'm there for him when he like a little therapist to him, but I don't really talk to him about my problems. But I'm the kind of person that I talk to my friends about my problems, not a man.
Is it because the experiences are amongst women are similar to the same? Like kind of like how when as a man when you're having issues, we tend to go to our bros.
Friends,
You know what I'm saying?
like, I feel like you shouldn't be
Because
putting your problems on your man. I feel like.
I think the opposite to this, you know.
Do you?
I think my friends are going to back me. So if I've got a problem with my wife,
no, not relationship problems, just general problems.
Okay.
Like if you're going through stuff in life, would you talk to your friends about it or your wife? But then you're married, so you'd
wife,
probably go
yes.
to your wife.
3 months ago, before I got married, I probably would have went to my girlfriend though.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Fair.
So people-
Definitely.
See, I just feel like I don't know. I feel like your friends are there. your friends should be there to talk to about your
They are
problems.
as well. They
I
are
don't
as
feel
well.
like you should put it on your man. I don't know.
Yeah, they are as well. I think you've separated friendship and partner a couple of times now, and I think like without saying it, like my wife is genuinely my
your
best friend.
yeah.
Genuinely, like so, I couldn't imagine going through something without her and her support.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what could be missing. You know, once you have
Yeah.
that friendship, I feel safe in that space.
Yeah, there's a reason as to why I'm the way I am, and obviously like this is why Sarah keeps telling me off. But obviously I have, like, everyone knows that's my story. That's why I started this podcast. I went through years of really bad domestic violence, and so yeah, I have like moved on now. How many years later? But I just think that I don't know. Obviously, it will go down. The wall will go down, but it can't go down straight away.
Yeah, your experiences, like everything you've just said that you've been through, like I can't imagine.
Yeah, I've had
You know, so
years of abuse, years
Exactly, so-
ongoing.
So I couldn't imagine that walls are going to be put up, you know. But from, you know, outside looking in, I think the one thing I'd be looking for is a friend.
Yeah.
But then it's also, it goes back to what Sarah was saying, right? In terms of like taking accountability and having self-awareness. Do you know what I mean? In regards to when you mentioned the wall, obviously you elaborated on it, but at what point, because I don't know if you was going to get into it, Daniel, but if this is the guy that you want to be with for the rest of your life, like at some point you're going to have to...
Whoa.
No, wait, hold on. What do you mean, whoa?
I'm only joking. I'm scared.
No, at some point you're gonna. I mean, life is a risk. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, if you start a business, you know it could be successful. It could fail. You know, when you take the stabilizers off your back, you're gonna fall, but you get back up, right? So it's like it's a risk. Nothing's 100%.
I don't think you noticed, but you already rationalized to yourself why you're not going to go to him. You said, I normally go to my friends anyway. So either you don't have a wall and you always go to your friends, or you do, you'd want to go to him.
I just think that I wouldn't really like to put all my problems on him.
But do you want to?
Do I want to?
Because if you want to and you don't, then there
I
is
think
a wall.
because I was single for so long as well, it's just my natural instinct is to just talk to my friends about my problems, and we do that anyway. Like, you know, Sarah, we know we have we're like our own personal therapists to each other, and they understand because they've been through similar things to me.
situations, yeah.
Whereas he might not understand because he hasn't been through it.
So you do want to talk to him, but you don't think he'll understand.
Oh, breaking
Why don't you try?
down
Why don't you try though?
He knows what I've been through.
He
knows what I've been through. But I just think if I was to go through anything in life now, just problems, I would always first contact my friends than him.
Are you scared of being vulnerable in front of him?
But this weren't one of the topics, guys. I'm getting questioned here now.
I'm invested now. I'm invested. I'm invested.
And then you thinking something's gonna go wrong?
Yeah, it's abandonment issues that we was talking about. Obviously, never grew up with a father. And then, well, my dad was in and out of my life, but my mum and dad split up when I was 3 because my dad was addicted to gambling. He used to take our TV, pawn it to gamble and all of that stuff. So my mum and dad split up when I was 3, and then he moved to Cardiff, and I'd see him like once a year or whatever. And then my mum actually had a boyfriend that I called Dad, and he was there for years, and then he left. Him and mum split up. So then that was like a second dad left me. Then obviously I've been in like a domestic violent relationship for years. So I think for me now, yeah, that's why I've got that wall up, because what if I open myself up to you and then it goes wrong and then like we end up splitting up or you leave or whatever?
It's a risk though. You're gonna have to.
That's not actually a bad thing. Because this is like, even if you are putting a wall up, it's not that I don't want to think that everyone's attacking you. It's just that you can't protect yourself and grow at the same time. Sometimes you need to protect yourself. Sometimes you have to. Right,
but I feel she's gonna hit me after this podcast.
No, but this goes for anyone. A lot of people protect themselves because they don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to, but then that just stops the relationship from growing. It stops you from growing.
I agree with that.
But maybe you need to protect yourself. I don't know. Maybe if you've had certain experiences, it's extremely difficult to just go, yeah, why not? This guy's obviously not going to hurt me. So you might need to protect yourself. But just know that if you're protecting yourself, you're not growing. And you have to decide which one you do. You don't get to do both.
Yeah.
A little bit of growth, a little bit of protection, whatever works best for you.
Yeah.
But you don't get to do both.
I appreciate the advice.
Gotta be vulnerable, man.
Yeah,
this time next year, you might see me on the missing piece with my wedding ring. After I said I never wanted to get married, and China said I never could. I feel like we've got a different Alicia today because, you know, last time I sat on this sofa saying that, no, marriage ain't for me, but now you guys are softening me up a bit.
Yeah, it has. Why did you put it down as just a piece of paper?
Well, I'm glad you've asked me that because that's what I wanted him to do, but he never. He just attacked me instead. Right, I said it was just a piece of paper because the marriage in itself, to me, is... The relationship is all about stability, loyalty, honesty, commitment, trust. That should all be there before and after the marriage. So the marriage, you just certify that with the certificate. But I think all the other work that goes into it and the way the relationship is, if you're in a serious relationship, then that should be like that anyway before you're married.
Can I ask you a quick question? When you're dating someone, do you want to make it official when they become your boyfriend? Or do you just stay as dating forever?
When you marry someone, you make it official.
No, not married. Just, you know when you like first meet someone?
Yeah.
Just like dating. And then you make it official and you're boyfriend and girlfriend. Do you want that next step to make it official?
Do I want it?
Yeah. Do you feel like that's necessary?
Well, absolutely.
Then it would be exactly the same psychological step when you get married. Nothing actually changes. But psychologically, there's different, like, I mean, with marriage, there's actually things that change.
There are legalities, a lot of them.
Legally, it's a lot more beneficial.
Especially when the children in houses.
Yeah.
And psychologically, it definitely has a big impact. But marriage is just a piece of paper in the same sense that saying, you're my girlfriend, is just some random words. It means something.
And I was going to say, again, when China said what he said about you can't get married, I don't think... Shouts to my boy China. I don't think he meant that you can't get married. I think what he was saying was that you've made it difficult in the sense that, you know, where you have 3 children, it is harder versus a woman that doesn't have. Not to say that it wouldn't happen, but on a balance of possibility, it's tougher because...
she still can.
Oh no, I agree. I wouldn't. That's why I wouldn't say you couldn't get married. I think that's a bit...
You know what? I don't know what the statistics are.
I know people that have got children that meet a man that's got children, and
Brady
they meet
Bunch.
them older, and they end up,
Brady Bunch,
or they meet them older when they meet them when the children have ended up like growing up. Say for instance, me now, my youngest is 3. I'm only 31, so say when he's 16, I want to start going out and looking for a husband. All my kids are growing up then. I could get married to a man then when they're all older. It's probably not going to happen while they're young, but the thing is, you can never say you can't.
No, you can't. That is wild. China, you're my guy, but that's you're my brother. But that's, you know what I'm saying. I wouldn't say you can't. You know what I'm saying.
I'm missing something here. So what's been said?
So basically, he said that I can't get married.
You said technically
No.
that.
No, China said that on the previous
China.
episode. I can't get married.
I've not seen, I don't know China. Not seen it.
Because I'm just
so why can't you get married?
Because I'm just a baby mother and I've got
Yeah.
3 kids now.
Yeah.
So no one's ever
Can't
gonna
is
marry me.
strong. Can't is strong, but it is.
It's incorrect. I'm sure.
Good.
I wouldn't know what the statistics are, but I'd imagine people who've been married once are more likely to get married again than the average person.
But I
to
think,
say
but when
that-
you make, sorry,
It's a good shout,
sorry, continue, bro. Sorry, my bad, my
I
bad.
would imagine that once you've been married once, you're more. Those are the kinds of people that get married 2-3 times in their
Yeah.
life. So statistically, if you've been married once or anything like that, or you have kids and you've been in a long-term relationship, you're more likely to be able to do that again.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
Statistically, that's just incorrect.
What if you haven't been married though? What if you've had your kids outside of marriage? You want to get married? Don't you think that those numbers they do drop a little bit? No.
I would imagine. So, but
I
don't know.
had a son, and then I got married after, and I was married for 8 years, and he like kind of raised my son. Our relationship wasn't great, but I'd like definitely get married again, and I wouldn't. This is what I said in the comments. Like when she said, like, marriage is just a piece of paper. Like, to me, it just brought me nothing but trauma and heartache. Do you know what I mean? But I'd still get married again. But in what she was saying, it is just.
Because you get couples that have been together since they were 16, they've got all their kids together, they're still together when they're like 70, and they're not married, but they've had a good relationship. Why does everyone have to aspire to getting married? You could have a serious relationship without getting married.
But then, like, because when I hear, especially when I heard the piece of paper comments, I'm just like, why is it? It seems as though like having a child is less of a commitment than getting married. Like it's easier
It definitely is in this generation.
Yeah.
It's sad,
Shouldn't
it's sad that
be.
it's
Like-
that. No, I mean people see it that way because women are giving men kids without. Before
you don't
they're
require
married.
marriage, and then like you expect later on down the line another guy to then be like, wait, hold on, you didn't require marriage from that guy, but then you want it to come from me. Do you get what I'm
but
saying?
I don't expect a guy to. Like, obviously, I'm a single mother with 3 children. I don't expect anyone to want to come and make me their wife, but equally, I'm not really. If I was to never get married, it wouldn't bother me.
But I also understand where China's coming from in the sense that he can't. I'm just looking at it from where he's come from, right? He comes from a strong African household, right?
Yeah.
Both parents married.
Yeah.
You know, sisters married.
Yeah.
So how come me
Children.
ain't?
Pardon?
China, why you not married?
China, I love you. But that's where like
Yeah,
that's
but you're
the.
saying this, but him himself isn't.
He was raised by his mum. That's why.
I'm confused by this because, like, I'm staying quiet on this one because I wasn't involved in it. But ultimately, nobody can tell you can't get married.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I
that's
mean.
it.
He's not God. Like, unless you're God, you cannot say what someone can and can't. Like, you're never going to get married because you can't
agree.
say
I'm
that.
interested in.
I've
I
seen the
agree.
DMs that you post. Apparently, you can get married.
Oh yeah, I've got people in my DMs that want to marry me.
No,
But I was just reading between the lines of what he was saying. And again, can't is strong, but then to say the idea that marriage is just a piece of paper is, I think
There's a lot of people with that mentality. So if those two people were in a relationship, I don't think anything would change if they got married. But for a lot of people, it's not. Like, if you both think marriage is meaningless, then it is.
But then if you can have children by the guy, surely you could get married to him, right?
Yeah, but
if you can give him the highest honor, which is children, why not formalize it? Sign the paper.
They don't care about it.
Because a lot of people in this generation are not bothered about being married. I know it's sad, but
look at the outcomes though. Has that led to better outcomes for the for the communities?
1,000,000% hasn't. But it's just not a thing as much as it was in the past.
So why can't we change that? Why can't going forward?
Because a lot of black men don't want to get married.
Oh, I don't know about that. I
can
think
throw a couple at you. I can throw a couple. How many black men do you know?
That are married.
How many have got down on their knee to ask the question?
Sorry, say that again.
Oh, you heard me.
I think black men are more. I think they're more marriage minded than the black women.
That doesn't answer the question I asked. I said, how many black men do you know, and how many of them have got down on their knee?
I know quite a few.
Do you really?
Yeah.
You look at you lying.
I'm
face.
being sick. I'm being serious. No, I'm actually
lying.
No, I'm actually being serious. One of my closest friends, he recently got married.
You're on about me, innit?
Pardon?
We've literally met like 30 minutes.
That's
and we're
true.
close
That's
friends.
true.
I love you.
But literally, it's like it's one of them ones. I know a few.
I was married to a black man.
I actually know a lot of black guys that get married.
Yeah.
I went
Do you know what I mean?
I went to black church at university, and now there's
I
at
love you
least
too, by
like
the way.
10, 15 people who are married now.
That's good.
Pretty insane.
That's good. Me coming from Birmingham, I don't know a lot of black men who asked the question.
I know
Yeah,
a lot because
me
I grew up.
either.
Yeah, I grew up with like a lot of black men. Obviously, in
Must
terms
because
of
I live in Birmingham, then I need to get with a
No,
man
no,
from
don't get-
London. It's like, they get married.
No,
Mine was
But the
from
average black,
Birmingham and he was a black man and I was married.
the
Yeah,
average
but
black
he
man
was
is
a
not
different
like
kettle of fish, obviously.
The stereotypical average black man in Birmingham isn't like the people in this room though.
Mm.
You know, so Birmingham's full of black men who probably wouldn't be able to sit in this room, and that's factual.
okay,
So if we say, when I go and think of Birmingham, if I go up to town now and I go to a bar or a nightclub, the people in that bar, I think the percentages and statistics then decrease of how many.
Okay.
people.
that's fair.
Why that is, who knows?
I think more black men want to get married than black women do. I don't have a statistic to back it up, but I think it's the fact that women initiate an overwhelming amount of divorces and men are more at risk in terms of
Losing what they lose, yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they want to, but it's just
No.
you disagree.
What do you
I think I can't think of any women that if they've met a guy that they actually loved, respected, and that cared for them, that they would say no if they proposed. I can't imagine that. But I can imagine a lot of guys who would say, "I'm not marrying her in case she fucks my whole life."
I got a question. Don't you think that because women have way more options than men, right? Don't you think that,
Speak for
especially
yourself.
I think a lot of,
You're married, so you've only got one option.
That's true, baby. I love you, man.
don't you think because women have more options than men do, especially in the West, like there's so much going on. It's like women are delaying marriage because they want to do up hot girl summer, they want to do up city girl lifestyle, they want to ride the cock carousel.
No.
Like you don't think so?
I don't think it's that. Do you know what I truly
Really?
think it is as well? Is why is a man going to ask you to marry him if you're giving him all the benefits of a marriage without being married? Like, if I'm in a relationship, I would act like a whole wife, like I'm doing everything for you.
yeah.
So why are you going to ask me to marry you if I'm doing all that without them?
Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he though?
But why?
Why wouldn't
Because
he?
he doesn't need to, because he's getting everything what he wants, wife benefits, without being
Well,
married.
why don't you make marriage a requirement though?
That doesn't make sense.
What do you mean?
Are you saying before women used to not do everything and then get married and then do everything? There's no way that happens.
No,
I'll
what
tell you
I'm
what did
saying
happen
is the
before.
way men's minds work in this day and age is, why do they need to marry the female that they're in a relationship with if they're getting everything they want out of that female without marrying her?
But why wouldn't that be the mindset before? Because I imagine dating wouldn't have
I
changed.
don't know, because we didn't live in that back in the day, so I wouldn't be able to say.
Can I say? I do think something though. So I think women were more looking for marriage years ago, and I think there's a couple of things there at play. So if you look at the average age of people women having families now, it's in the 30s. Being married, being in the 30s. Go to 1950s, it's the late teens, early 20s. So that can be down and attributed to accessibility. So the world's changing, society's changing. So now women have a lot more access to education, better jobs, all these things that they didn't have in the 50s. So now a woman thinks, look at my career, I can
Yeah,
do this,
I
I
don't
can
need
do
a
that.
Thank you.
And now I can get to the age of 30.
That's the correct answer. We all have more options. We don't have to get married when we're 24 and 23 because we can travel the world. We can look at the whole world on our phone. We can try and create a business in 15 minutes. 20 years ago, when most of us were kids, we had to come home, watch 5 channels, maybe on the TV, or like I don't even know if Game Boy was out by then. So it's like,
Sega.
of course,
Sega.
yeah.
Mega
So
Drive.
people just have a lot more choice. Even now, we don't eat the same foods because we can go and try the new restaurant all the time. We could go get Uber Eats. We all have more choices, and when you have more choices, you have more freedom. But yeah, if that's good or bad, I don't really care.
Yeah, I think cut the
It is what
options.
it
But I
is.
think if you look at like the 1950s and stuff, women wasn't allowed to have their own bank account, so they had to probably get married because they had to but now we can have anything we want ourselves, so we don't need to anymore.
Absolutely. So
we don't. Do you
because
know
there's
what
a
I
lot
mean?
of blockers and barriers back in the 1950s. Now that we're trying to move to a more inclusive society, those barriers and blockers are being removed, and it's giving, going back to your words that you've used, more options.
Exactly. So imagine you're a woman who's 20, some 30-year-old who's got their life together, says, "Oh, we should get married." Like, well, I can literally do anything else in the world except commit my whole life to you. Why would I do that?
And for me, there's nothing wrong with that, you know.
No,
I'm
no,
one of
there's
those people.
nothing-
I
there's
love an
nothing wrong with
independent
it.
woman if she wants to go and like put a career first and then get to the age of 30 and says, at this point, I've done these things, and yeah, I'm happy with whatever anybody wants to decide.
But who's to say the kind of guy that they want them at that point? Yeah, I mean, you done.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll carry on after. Go ahead.
Man, I got pins and needles.
I don't know any women that are not getting offers. At any
100%.
They
100%.
can get married if they want
And that's
to.
a fact, isn't it? It is, isn't it? Like,
It's women. The reason women who are older might not get married is because they don't want to. They are more picky. Blah blah blah. Fine, it's their choice though. But they can. It's not that they can't. They can get married whenever they like.
But then the guy that they want, the kind of caliber of guy that they want, could easily say, well, why would I get the 30-year-old version of you when I can get the 25-year-old version of you who has less?
So you can't manipulate them more.
Oh,
No, wait.
goodness.
If you're 26,
Yeah,
if it were legal, would you date a 16-year-old?
absolutely not.
Because what?
So, but then when you put it
stop. I want to see where this is going.
no, because this was a conversation. So you've got men that are like 40 that are saying that they'd pick someone in their 20s as their wife.
What's wrong with that?
That's
What's
weird.
wrong with that?
Why would you not?
Because
date
they're
a
20 years younger. So that's like you now being 26, dating a 6-year-old.
Oh, come on.
No,
Those
okay,
are two
but
different.
like-
Alicia, come
Nah,
on, those are
because
two different things.
the age difference is
No,
still...
the age difference is still the
But
same, but you're comparing.
even 46 and 26, it's still weird to me. You
Why?
brought up in different times.
Because that could be your dad.
But our timelines, men and women's timelines are very different. Like, men can have kids until kingdom come. Women, you guys have a biological clock. No?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
what I'm
it's a
saying is,
psychological
if
thing.
you're a 26-year-old girl and you was to get married to a 46-year-old man, like I said, he's old enough to be. He could be like, do you know what I mean? He's
The-
20 years older than you.
The
Could be.
argument I think you're making is for attraction. You'd be more attracted to a beautiful 21-year-old.
But also, you're more likely to have less trauma, less bodies, less
Nah,
baggage.
because do you think 20-year-olds are not running around
No.
here with sleeping with loads of men, getting a high body
Wait, say
count?
that again, sorry?
Do you think people in their 20s
I'm
are
not saying, but what's more likely? Are you more likely to accrue more numbers as you get older when you're 30 versus...
that's
If-
for me. You can have no.
Go
For
ahead.
me, you can have a 21-year-old that's running around sleeping with different men every weekend with a really
You
high
ever
body
watch some of
count.
these
You could have a woman in her 30s that's been in
I'm oblivious to all
a few long-term relationships that hasn't been running around like putting up the body count, sleeping with
But
loads.
it's
of
not just about that anyway. Like,
What do you
and
mean? What?
The
not just
mindset,
about
like, what as a
numbers,
46-year-old
But
man.
it matters to men. though.
Mindset. Why would you want to get with a 26-year-old girl at the age of 40? Her mindset is going to be
Yeah.
completely different to yours.
With respect,
Go ahead.
you've had 26 years of life,
Uh-huh.
and your answer may be different.
when you
hit
get
your
to like
35s,
40, I
because
don't think you'll be
I'm-
saying what you're saying now.
I'm 21 now, 38. I'm 38, and I'm just trying to think about a conversation with a 21-year-old on a romantic level. And I'm
Exactly.
thinking,
They've got no
I don't care what
emotional
you look like.
intelligence yet. Like, why
Yeah.
would... Look, I don't understand. How
But
could it
what are you
work?
both talking about? You're 26, he's 46. What are you talking about the future? Like, your plans, he's probably already done them. Like,
I get it, but it's like the clocks, like a woman's clock is different, right? So the closer you are to 30, the closer you are to high risk pregnancy. So a woman, her more fertile years are in her 20s.
But what you're
Yeah,
speaking
my
about
friend's
is
just had a
reproduction.
baby at
Can I-
40.
You're only
Yeah.
speaking-
Let me
So
ask
again,
you
if you want
question.
to have multiple kids,
Let me ask you a question.
go ahead, bro.
How many people do you know with their wife 10, 15 years younger than them?
How do I? What personally?
Yeah, would you say you know more people with that age difference than?
But
close age difference?
you see that though. That is very common in places like the Middle East and like Arab countries. It is.
Yeah, because they're
Where-
being
where
into
the age
forced
of
marriage.
15
Because they're in
is-
forced
Okay,
arranged
no,
marriages.
consensual.
I'm not even talking about. I'm not talking about that. But in terms of like the age gap dating is a thing. Like I don't begrudge it.
That's
if-
sorry, but the pregnancy thing is just an excuse because
Wait, what do you mean?
I know one of my friends. She's 40 and she's just had a baby. And yes, all right, you are classed as more high risk if you have a baby over 30. But at the end of the day, that's not an excuse to be like a 46-year-old man just getting a 21-year-old pregnant.
Can I flip it a tiny bit? So a 60-year-old man hasn't got any kids, wants to have kids. What would your advice to him be?
If he's 60,
Yeah. And I'm just flipping it just so
I
we
would
can...
say
adopt so many children.
I'm not sure why a man would wait until he was 60.
He hasn't
to
waited.
decide.
But I think-
He stayed with a woman his entire
Yeah.
life who couldn't have kids.
Yeah.
Whatever's happened to them now he's 60. So he sacrificed for a woman.
Mm.
Now he says, actually, I've always wanted the kids. I'm 60 years old. What's the advice of this guy?
So
Not
what should he
over
what should he do in
20-year-old.
that case? What should a 60-year-old
A
do in that case?
60-year-old.
I'm not saying the solution. I'm just asking a question.
I don't know. I feel like it's too late for
Yeah,
you
shit
at that
happens.
age.
Life is life. Do you know
Okay,
what I
but
mean? Like,
I
Don't
wanna-
get into coaching.
Not being funny, but my advice would be you're 60 now. Like
But
when your
to be fair,
child, when your
you're not
child's
infinite.
5 and you start taking them to school, you're gonna be a 65-year-old on the school, and your child's gonna get picked on.
Alicia, I just wanted to say, like, I think, but men and women's timelines are different in the sense as well. Like, men typically hit the things that women look for, like the stability, the security in a man. It typically comes later on in life. Men don't hit their financial stride until later on in life.
No, not all men.
But for the most part, we're not. Again, that's
Financial stride has nothing to do with it because the average man makes an average amount of money. It's not that much.
yeah. But for the type of let's say go ahead.
All right then. So if you say men hit their financial stride later on in life,
Am I
so
lying
then
though?
that proves what I was trying to say. They get older, make money, and then they go for these younger girls because they can use the money as a
No,
tool
but
to
it's
get
like, why is it?
Why do you need money to get the girl you
okay,
want?
no. But money is a factor though. It does play a role. Like, so why is it that you have a big percentage, a huge percentage of, not huge, but you have a percentage of women that want guys that are making that amount of money, they're very, very few of those type of guys that are making that money. Finances is important. Like, we can't dismiss the idea that it isn't. No, and also
It's not to me.
Look at that.
It's not to me.
I have a folder on my phone of every bullshit point that people make on podcasts.
You just said my point's bullshit, by the way.
Guys do not date women 20 years. No man looks at a woman and goes,
I'm not saying
I can
20
have a kid with her. Thank
10
God.
I'm not, no,
Because she's 20. That doesn't happen.
Daniel, I'm not saying. Sorry, what?
So what that table shows that 40% of people in the UK, Australia, and the US, Canada, marry within 1 to 2 years of their age range. And it gets to about 60% when you're about 5 to 10 years. So 20 years.
I'm not saying 20 years. If that's what
it's
you want
not
to do,
normal.
if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But I'm not gonna.
I'm not saying it should never happen.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it's
if
not
that's what you choose to
normal.
do, cool, that's fine. I'm not saying
yeah. Okay,
20 years is okay, cool. 20 years is a bit bad, I can't lie. But if you choose to go that, why not? Why not? If that's
Obviously,
what
it's
you want.
down to the individuals and it's their choice if they want to. But to me, I just think 46-year-old men out here looking for 20-year-old girls, it's a bit like grooming in a
See,
way.
I think that's different. Then I
Mm.
think it's totally different. If a 46-year-old going out looking for as well, that
If he's going out of his
he's
way,
going out
cool.
looking for the
Yeah,
20-year-old,
but
that's just.
I'm not saying 20 years, alright, cool. That was a very specific number. But if it's like 5, 10 years, what's wrong with that?
No, that's fine.
Exactly. What's the issue?
I
And
didn't say anything about 5-10 years. I'm saying 20.
20 years, okay, cool. 20 years, but even still, what's wrong with that? If they choose to do that,
So how
that's
are you
what
even
works.
meeting
When does it
them?
stop?
Like, you wouldn't even
Pardon?
be going to the
What age
same
stops?
sort of
What
places.
do you mean, what age?
like 80 and 20.
I wouldn't go. I'd say 20,
Where's your
21.
measure? 21 years.
But I'm 26 though.
No, I'm on
So-
about 80 years of age and a 20-year-old. At what point in your world
Because
does
you
it get a
think
bit?
20 years is okay. So
does
would
it get a bit
be...
weird?
What's wrong with 20 years?
So how
If it's
young would
40
you go when
if you're a
dating someone?
46-year-old...
How young would I go?
Yeah,
at this
at
point,
26 now.
I'd say 21, 22.
But why not?
Well, 19.
Yeah.
90. I know that's a
Because then when you... Because
About 20
because
and
you're
21 birthdays
26
next
now...
I wouldn't have an issue with that. No, I wouldn't
Because
have
you're 26 now, when you reach the age of 46, you're going to think back on this and you're going to think, when you're at the age of 46, you would not, I'm telling you now, you would probably not date a
I
20-year-old.
disagree with that. I don't think he's going to think about it. We're going to show him this video.
Yeah, no, sure. I'll probably
Because
stand on business. and
How
have
is
the
a
same-
46-year-old man even going to be in the same place as a 20-year-old? Like, you wouldn't go to the same kind of
But we
places.
don't. But we don't. Men
How
and
would you
women aren't the
meet?
same. But Alicia, we don't look for the same things. Like, attraction is asymmetrical, not symmetrical. I appreciate you showing me that graphic as well, by the way. But I wasn't saying 20 years is, men should be striving for 20-year age gaps. No, I wasn't saying that. I was saying, what's wrong with it? Like,
Because what most people
someone-
look for in a relationship isn't going to be found with a relationship with that bigger age gap. It's not the typical thing that would happen. Most people, you want someone that you can spend your life with, someone that understands you, someone that you have a lot of commonalities with, and that you're going to be able to grow together. A 46-year-old man and a 20-something-year-old woman, it's not like it can't happen, but the maturity
sure.
level, the life experiences, like, it's just going to be so different.
Who's that celebrity actor? And he always has
Leo DiCaprio.
But he's
He
perfect
just-
proof.
you
Look how
could-
many he has to
yeah.
have.
And Simon Cowell. Simon Cowell always has a younger partner.
But they're
I thought he had an older
just
partner.
sleeping with these girls.
Like, just little... Like, I think he was in that serious relationship with that older
But
black woman. but then
why are those
all
men
the
getting
rest have
shamed?
been
Why are
young.
they getting shamed for it? Like, women
not
have
shaming him.
No,
No, they do get shit.
they do get shamed. No, but they do get shamed though. It's like women have sometimes have outrageous preferences in men, and if that's what they choose, if that's what they want in a guy, cool, fair enough. They want it to be 6 feet, make 6 figures, have all of these things, confident.
But then I would
intelligent.
shame them women.
Do you though?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I absolutely do. I don't agree with none
Why,
of that.
but why do you shame them? If that's their preference, I don't have a problem with it. If that's their preference,
Everyone's
that's
entitled to their preference, but like some women think that they deserve, like you said, they've got this big list.
They've
of
got the
things
list,
that they
yeah.
think- come on now, like that. I don't know. I'm not that kind of woman, so
But also, if a man is looking for a more traditional wife, like, is he gonna like? Sometimes you'll have you heard of like passport bros and stuff like that?
Yeah.
There are men that are going out there to get more trad wives as opposed to.
More what? Sorry, what's this?
So men go to countries
Yeah.
like Thailand or
I'm just putting it out there, by the way. Yeah.
to get a more traditional wife, a woman that will
Okay.
a maid really.
Let me ask you a question.
Yo, this is
You're
unlearned.
a 35-year-old man. You're successful. You've reached 100K a year. You're in good shape.
By the
Why-
grace of God, yes.
Why are you going to Thailand, South America, Colombia to find a wife that maybe kind of speaks English? What do you want to achieve?
I'll take that for
with
10
that?
points. Insecurity.
It's like
Insecurities.
What
in
are
a
you
lot of these
looking
men.
for?
they're looking for somebody that will bow down to them, and they feel like if they're going over to Thailand and get that woman and bring her back, she'll be more submissive than the women in this country.
Is that what we really think it is? Is that what we really think it is? That people would want to go to Thailand to find somebody more submissive?
That is what
That's
the
what they do.
comments online.
That's what
would
they do. They're
indicate.
calling them more traditional wives.
They see.
Is there a lie in that though? Do you again? I don't know the numbers, but is there a lie in those people that choose to do that? What do you agree with it or do you disagree with it?
Because so the mindset I have, and I think any man would agree with this. If you're a 40-year-old man, if there's a 40-year-old woman and a 20-year-old woman, they're exactly the same level of maturity. Somehow they have the same life experience. I think most men would probably go for the more attractive 20-year-old, just because they're more attractive. If that was the only difference.
But
And they're the same in any
this,
other way.
What about this thing that we're saying about like people going to Thailand and stuff? To
Yeah,
get
that's what I was asking you
So
about.
why do you think that is? Why do you think
So
they're doing that?
it sounds like-
Why do you think they're not picking wives in this country? Why do you think they're going
Because
to?
they think English women are too difficult or Western women are too difficult.
Is it a
which
case
they're
of
not.
that? We speak about the 1950s earlier on. Is it a case of we saying that men would
Yeah.
ideally prefer a woman back
Yes.
from the 1950s? who's a bit more traditional.
Basically, women in those countries don't have as many economic opportunities. They don't have as many opportunities for life as a whole. So all you're doing is saying that the women in this country are too difficult. They have too many options, and I'm not a good enough one to pick. So I have to go to Thailand, where all they want to do is get a passport to come to this country because it's a better life and spend it with me. That's what I hear when if my brother said I need to go to Thailand to find a wife, I'd be like, what? Why? Would you want anyone you care about to be like, I'm gonna go find my wife in Colombia because these girls are too difficult? You'd be like, what are you talking about? Well, I would be like that.
Yeah, no, fairs. If that's what he chooses to, I wouldn't. If he was to say it's too difficult, no, there's plenty of great women out here in the West. But again, if he hasn't found that here, what's the harm in going overseas?
I would say to my friend, get better. Become a better option.
Yeah.
If women don't want you, become a better
that's,
option.
That's
But what if
definitely-
they're
a
not the
woman's-
women?
But if a woman's being difficult with you, it's got to be for a reason. It's like if you've got a man that's an amazing man and he doesn't, he's got no, well, every man's got faults, but if you've got an amazing man that's taking care of you and treating you properly, why would you be difficult towards him? So if a woman's being difficult towards you, there's got to be a reason.
Or do you make room for the possibility that that's just how she is?
Some people are. There are some people that are right there, and there's some men that are just like that.
There
There's just
are,
some horrible
of course.
people
Yeah,
in this
sure.
world that would probably be difficult for no reason. But most of the time, if a woman's being difficult or a man's being difficult with you, it's for a reason.
I think with relationships, I think when I hear it and I sit back just listening to people and I look at relationships with my friends and like people that I know, I feel like we don't try anymore.
Yeah.
So unless it's easy, because of this like Tinder fast
because we
food
can
life,
just jump on Instagram
and
and
this quick
stuff and
fix, you
talk
can
to
just jump on
someone. And
Instagram. Because I missed all that. I've been with my wife for 10 years, 11 years, so I kind of missed all that phase, luckily. But I think because it's that fast food lifestyle environment,
We think
people think
everyone's
don't need to
replaceable.
try anymore.
Yeah, people think they've got too many options now because of social media.
But the
Yeah.
problem with that is they do. It's
Yeah,
not even they think.
it's true.
They do have
It's
too
true.
many options now, and that's what's difficult. That's what's difficult because really, everything I'm hearing here, I was thinking, all you guys need to do is really just talk. Then you know, the couples need to talk. I'm not good enough here. Let's talk about it. Where am I good enough? What do I
Yeah.
need to do better? What do you need
but
to
then
do better?
there's a lot of men that don't want to do that these days.
You think so?
I don't think it's
I
men's
don't
fault.
think
A lot
it's
of
a
women
man's.
don't.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
men's
I think
fault.
it's very quick to
I
say
don't think.
that.
I don't think it's men's fault.
Not you.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's very
I don't
quick.
think it's
I
men's
think
fault.
it's very, I think it's very quick to say.
No, but there are a lot of men
don't
out
do
here that don't really want to sit down and have them.
You think
Let's
so,
talk
Alicia?
statistics. I think 100% of the men in this room will.
well,
Do you agree with that as well?
100% of the mood.
Men in this room would have
Yeah.
that conversation.
the only reason I'm saying this is because when I went on Cancel Culture podcast and I was saying like about women and like men think that that this was actually the host that said this to me. Do you really think a man's gonna want to sit down and talk about his problems with a woman all the time? Like we see that as
He's right though. He's right.
we see
don't
that as
wanna do it all the time.
he said we would see that as that a nagging woman and like
He's
we would
right.
get like so
He's right. We don't want that all the time, but we want it has the possibility that we're able to do.
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
yeah.
And I think Will Smith said it in a Red Table Talk where he was like, and he was going with that, where he was like, being able to have something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but being able to have faults and not have to worry about losing my wife or my family. And I think that's what it is with men. I don't think men have an issue with it. I think it's one of them ones where it's like, will I lose you? Will I lose you in the process of like, are you gonna be like, oh, so are you still gonna see me as that guy? Do you know what I'm saying? That rock. But if I open up to you, are you gonna be like, you're gonna read it in a little bit and be like,
And I think with women as well, what women want from men, women want men to communicate like they do. So when they want to sit there and communicate like this heart to heart, because I'd argue this, you know, it's not tangible, but a lot of women don't know the language that men speak.
Yeah.
So my wife understands my language. She'll understand if I come from work, if I'm silent in a certain way, she knows how to treat that. I don't need to go and sit there to her and say, oh, I've had a really bad day today. But we've had that conversation without me even saying it. But so my question to women will always be, a lot of men do the work on women. We do the work. But on the flip side is, how do you communicate with men?
because I think about it as well. Like as guys, we kind of have to understand women in order to get women, but. You know?
It's funny because it's true, but most men still don't.
You think so?
You think most men understood women? If they did, we
I
wouldn't.
think
You understand one need.
like I think in order for the guys to have gotten ladies, in order for the guys that you've been with to get to that point with you, they had to understand you to some extent, right? No,
there's just got to be an attraction.
Yeah, some women.
Yeah, of course.
Some women don't even like the guy they're talking to, but they're just like, all right, he'll do.
Why?
Because there aren't very many good options available for women. That's why I say
You don't think that there aren't good. You honestly think that there aren't good options out there, or do you think they ignore the ones because they're looking?
But they're not good options because women don't want to sit next to a boring accountant who's going to sit there quietly at home and not say anything.
Why does it have to be that?
What an accountant.
It doesn't have to.
But I'll get where you're going.
But we as men know that the nice guy that we're picturing, they're not fun and exciting to be around. We know that.
Yeah.
So why would women want to be around
That
them?
guy's finishing last, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's finishing last.
And
But
it's
they're
not,
nice girls do
it's
as
got
well.
nothing to do with being nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, they don't. Nice girls don't finish last.
they do, because you could be a nice girl and you could be, put you all into relationships and that and get treated really horribly.
Yeah, I get that.
Well,
Because
women get
some
the
men would
opportunity.
see you as a boring, the way that women see some men as boring, some men see certain women as boring. Some men don't see certain women as exciting and fun and out there. And
Men aren't as complicated as women, though.
I don't
nah,
think
I'm
it's as
telling you
complex as
now.
that.
I'm telling you
I
now.
don't think we're that
some-
complex, honestly.
There's some men.
I think you're overthinking it.
No. I
No,
know
honestly.
for a fact there's some men that will
Some.
see some women, not all, I'm not saying all, that would see certain types of women as boring.
Yeah, obviously.
So it works both ways.
But women still get the opportunity
Yeah,
to enter into a relationship. Men who are boring never get the chance.
They don't get the opportunity.
They not get, yeah.
Even if a woman can be overweight, unattractive, boring, a man will still be like, that's all I got. Let me go talk to her.
Yeah, she can go out that night and come back.
Yeah, a guy. It's not like I
A
think.
guy could be a 7 or 8 and he's not guaranteed.
Yeah,
We're outside the club. We'll even get to.
No, seriously
have
though.
that conversation.
Like we're not, and men, we're not that complex. We're not. Like I think women, you guys overcomplicate it. Like we're not that complex. Honestly, I don't know.
It's because we have to do a lot more to understand them than
Yes.
they do have to understand them.
Yes, exactly.
So
That's
let's call a spade a spade. Men have to do a lot of the work, don't they?
So that's why I didn't understand when you said that men don't want to do the work. Like I think a lot of men do. Do women want to do the work? That's the question.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying it's equal. It's 50-50. I'm saying
You honestly think it's 50-50?
there's some women out here that are willing to do the work, and
But how is that 50-50 though?
and then there's some men that are,
Alicia.
and there's some that aren't, and there's some that aren't.
No, you can't. No, like you're honestly gonna say it's 50-50 though.
Yeah.
50-50.
Sorry, what work are we talking about here?
No, as in, boy, it all
Into
got.
a relationship.
To do the work on a relationship.
Yeah, as in, even the whole dating process is like, all right, cool. It's almost as if the guy has to do all of these things, become the best version, and it's like,
No,
as women, you're just like, you have to accept what I'm giving you, but he has to go out there and slay the dragon. It don't make no sense.
I don't know.
Really,
I don't know. What kind of women are you
gentlemen,
dating?
I want to get your.
Most women, they want you to have proven to them that you're the guy that they want to spend their life with. And that makes sense.
Yeah.
If I was a woman, I'd do the
But
same.
you don't want a woman to prove to you that.
No,
No,
we're saying
we're
women.
saying
Yeah, women don't. Women just kind of turn up and
So
want to be
you don't
cute
have
and
certain
attractive.
requirements that a woman has to give you before you think.
No,
No,
I think
we do.
they do, but I think
Women
with a
don't.
man, when he finds those requirements, he's gone and found them. So I don't think it's like a woman is going to be approaching a man and like to say that I'm going to try on this man and this is what I kind of have to offer. It's usually the man who's done the work, gone in to speak to the woman, and then understood if that person's for them or not for them. You don't really see it the other way around.
Yeah.
But and if I flip this though, this is ultimately, as men, we can't have it both ways. If we want to be alpha, if we want to be masculine men, these are masculine traits that we do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Men and women have problems with different part of the dating thing. Men is difficult at the beginning, women is difficult afterwards. Because once we've done the work and had sex with you, then everyone's like, oh, now it's the woman's job to keep me, right? Which I guess is true. But that's only if the man literally just wanted sex and nothing else, which most men don't. Most men do want sex, but they don't just want sex. So if a woman can show that she's
I
offering
think
more
that
than that, then it's
I
easy
1,000,000%
to
agree with that. I
stick
think in the first instance, there's like a lot, not all men, that the first thing that they want from you is sex. But then you've got to, as a woman, you've got to prove to them that you're more than just sex to be able to. Do you know what I mean?
And that's why
So-
women think making a man wait will like help, but it just
Yeah,
means
it
you just
doesn't.
waited for sex. You didn't actually do anything
exactly.
to
Yeah.
keep
Absolutely.
us. You just made us wait for the thing we want, and then you're like,
Yeah.
well, there
Yeah.
you go.
Interesting.
You look like you was really.
You know what?
thinking
I'm just
about
glad I'm not part of
No.
this anymore.
No, because I was trying to remember a part that Romain said that I was gonna bring up, but I can't. It left me. I got lost in the sauce, literally. So,
Okay.
yeah.
No, that I think that was a good point.
That-
That
yeah.
last one was a really good point. But I don't know whether I wonder whether it's just something that women generally know. I feel like I do as a woman, but yeah, because you do get a lot of women on social media and stuff that will say, "Oh, all a man wants is sex and blah blah blah." But maybe that's all you've got to offer him there.
It's just,
If that's
the
the only experience you're getting, maybe you ain't got nothing else to offer him.
a woman who thinks a man only
Interesting.
wants sex is the equivalent to men who think women only want money. It's like that's all
Mm.
you.
I
that's all-
agree
that's all
with
you-
that.
You've done
I
no.
agree with
You've
that.
done no thinking.
Hold on, let
I
me
agree
save
with
that
that.
one there.
I actually agree with that. Yeah.
If you,
Could that be an insecurity in themselves, thinking they think that's all they can offer? I don't know.
it is.
Yeah.
It's the same for men and women.
Yeah.
If you think that, that's because you don't think
Yes.
beyond.
I also remember what I was gonna
People
say. I agree with what Romain said. I don't. I'm saying your name correctly, bro.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Of course. My best friend, remember?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's my guy. Come on. Of course. Come on. Literally. Like, women really don't understand how to communicate with men. That's what I was saying. Like, when we was having a conversation, I was like, yeah, you guys, because even you looked kind of surprised when we were saying the stuff that we were saying. It was like, you kind of taken aback by it a little bit.
Yeah, because it all goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. I think when we talk to our friends more about what we're feeling within our relationship than before going to our man. So we don't actually really know how to communicate with our man, because we will say, oh, well, this has happened, what do you think? Or what do you think I should do? Or, you know, like I think most women generally go to their friends with their relationship problems more than
I
But
commented on
I
this
feel-
earlier on. I think going to your friends can be good at times, but I think it can be the most toxic thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
Your friends are always going to support. and
Yeah.
back
They're going to
you.
be on your side
They're
always,
going to be on
and
your
it's going to
side.
cause a lot of
And
problems.
that's why they're still your friends.
And the more you go to them, the more they're going to see that guy as a bad guy. So then
Absolutely.
eventually they're going to, do you know what I mean? So it does cause, these are the things I used to do when I was younger, and it does obviously cause a lot of problems.
I'm all for diverse thinking, man, and like we've got to figure out how we can think differently to get different outcomes. Because if we're getting the same outcomes our entire life and we're doing the same things, what else can we expect?
I feel. Go on.
No, sorry. I was going to say that's why I was trying to speak to a diverse range of people. So the immediate people around me are white, black, female, male. So it's just diverse perspectives. There's not one sole person I'd go to with a problem. There's multiple people because I just want different outcomes.
Yeah.
Sorry, you was going to say something. I want to ask a question as well.
I feel you know who, when you've got so much to talk about, depending on who you go to, your friends or your partner, it's the outcome you want. Because if you're going to go to your friends, they're going to agree with you. If you're going to go to a man, they're going to be more logical about the outcome. And like if you want sympathy, you are going to go to your friends.
Yeah.
If you want a logical answer, you're going to go to a man more than likely. And I think depending on what answer you want, depends on the person you go to.
To what everyone's saying, I wanted to ask the gents this question, Daniel, and I wanted to ask you, Romain. When you speak to your male friends about what you're going through, do you think they give you a more balanced perspective? Like they'll tell you, okay, cool, you're in the wrong here. They'll hold you accountable. Like I think with women, it's a little bit different with how they communicate with one another. But I wanted to hear from you guys as to how it is with your respective circles.
I try and formalise my conversations genuinely, even with my friends, even if it's even formal. And like my friends will say things like, "What hat do you want me to wear? Counselling hat, therapist hat, coaching hat." And then so there's going to be times where I just need counselling, and that counselling is just me talking. Just let me offload, and that's what it is. But what I'll say, my immediate circle, when I got married, I got 5 groomsmen. Then with my friends for the 21 years that I've been alive, 38 years that I've been alive. And so they've been my from the beginning of time, but they'll always want the best for me. So the best for me doesn't always agree with me. So they will say, Romain, you've been, no. So ultimately I'm married now. So every single conversation I have with my friends has to support that marriage. Unless I'm saying my wife's cheated on me, really, they've got to figure out how to get me on the straight and narrow. And straight out makes it sound horrible. They've got to figure out how we can resolve that issue. Yeah. And that's what they would do.
Do you prefer going to your friends who are in relationships over your single friends?
That's a good question.
That's a very good question.
That's a good question.
Wait there. So,
I think you'll get different answers.
What's interesting though? What's interesting. So I had 2 best men. They're both married. My other groomsmen and 2 other groomsmen, 3 other groomsmen have been their partner for years. So they genuinely, I call them my fingers. They are my 5 closest friends. I have a lot of people. I have a lot of people I know.
Really good.
I have hundreds of acquaintances. I have loads of people that I know. I have 5 friends, and they're all married, to be fair. So I do have single people that I know, acquaintances who are close to friends, but not in that, that circle. Would I speak to them about relationship advice? Probably not. Okay. Same way I wouldn't ask a homeless man about mortgages.
Me, I don't talk to my guy friends about relationship problems. I talk to my female friends.
Okay, that's interesting.
Because my relationship with my guy friends is more like, they're the people I just love hanging out with. I don't want to be like, oh bro, like I'm really struggling. Like it's just not. It's not that I don't feel I can't. It's just I don't want to be like, oh bro, what do you think about this? And usually I want to solve everything I have anyway. So if I have a problem and I do say, explain it to one of my guy friends, I'm just telling him. I'm not expecting him to do anything. I don't need his input. I'm just like, this is what's going on, But don't worry, man. I'll go for it. But when I actually want to speak to someone about something, it will be one of my female friends.
But do you think the way we speak as men, do you think we're more likely to give a more objective opinion, right? We'll say, all right, cool. I hear what you're saying on this one, bro, but you're in the right, but you're in the wrong. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, so let me say that again. With men, I think I've come to realize that we are more pragmatic, we're more logical. So it's like, it's one of them ones where when we have conversations amongst each other, we have no problem saying it how it is, whether it's good or bad. That's what I was meant to say. So do you get what I'm saying?
I do, but my guy friends, like, they would be the kind of guys that would like help me hide a body. So they would never, they're never going to be like, bro, you're wrong. Okay. They'll probably find a way to back me up. But my female friends, they'll call me out on my bullshit. They'll be like, stop treating them like this.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're girls as well. So if I say I have any kind of like relationship thing, they're like, well, you're clearly being a twat. Okay. Because they can tell me how the girl is feeling. I'm like, oh yeah. I didn't think about that.
Fairs.
But a guy, we just know how we're feeling.
Okay, fairs.
My guy friends, I'll talk to them like business problems or like logistical things.
Interesting.
Anything relationship wise, like personal, female friends.
Okay. Yeah.
So what about you?
Same question now. Yeah. Okay. I think Same with you. Like I have a very, I probably say similar number, 4 or 5 close friends. Like we've been friends since secondary school, and they will tell me the uncut, raw truth, like regardless of whether it's good or bad. But yeah, and they're the people that I go to. But I have no issue going to the woman that I'm dealing with or seeing relationship potential wife about it. But I think with men, we give more logical solutions. We're more objective. But when it does come to women, though, I have gone to women when I'm seeing a woman. I do speak to them about, all right, cool. What did I do in this situation that was wrong? And they do give me a very good perspective. But in general, I do go to my male friends. That's why I understand what Alicia's saying when she says she typically goes to her female friends, because the experiences are generally the same. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
But yeah, similar to you.
Fair enough.
And that's just how are you for time?
I need to go in a minute.
Yeah. What about everyone else? We're gonna cut this out, by the way.
I mean, you can cut this out. I was going to say, Jesus.
I mean, I'm happy to continue. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah, no, because
I am too, by the way. I've just got
You're busy.
an award tomorrow, and I need to go get
What do you
myself
need to do?
certified. I'm up for the most inspirational person tomorrow.
Oh, congratulations. Oh.
What are you
I
going to
need to
get
go
done now?
get myself beautified.
Your lashes you're doing?
Yeah.
Some sisters
I'm
in there.
a
I
tan
got you,
and
man. Easy.
Oh, man.
no, wow. Whoever wants to stay, we can go on to the rest of the topic.